Welcome back to Green is Good, and we're so honored to have with us today Tim Newell. He's the Vice President of Financial Products at SolarCity. Welcome to Green is Good, Tim.
Thanks for having me. Really pleased to be here.
Hey, Tim, this is going to be an exciting show because you're going to be talking about not only the great brand SolarCity that you work for, but you're also going to be talking about something that's relatively new to the sustainability world, green bonds, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But before we get talking about the SolarCity and green bonds, I would love you to share the Tim Newell story with our listeners because you've had a very interesting and exciting life. So can you please share your story a little bit with our listeners before we get going on to talking about solar?
Sure, I'm happy to. Well, I've been in the investment world out here in San Francisco for some years now, but I didn't start off there. I started off in politics and government, and worked in Washington for a number of years. I worked first for Pat Leahy, the senator from Vermont, and
sure,
and just about a year after starting working for Senator Leahy, a congressman from California, Norm Mineta, came to see me, and he said that he was looking for someone to come work with him and work on technology issues. And he represented Silicon Valley, and it was tremendously interesting to me. And I told Patrick that I was going to take a year or two and go work for him. And to this day, when I see Senator Leahy, he kind of looks at my watch and says, "Well, is that year up now when you come back?"
It was a long year.
I worked for Congressman Mineta, and got to see all of the developments in Silicon Valley and the technology industry. And in 1993, when President Clinton came into office, they asked me to come down to the White House and serve as the policy director in the Science and Technology Office.
Wow!
And I spent the next 5 years having a great time, working hard, and seeing what I could do for President Clinton in the White House staff.
That's great. What an experience. That is just awesome.
It was a great time to be doing it because it was a time in which technology was sort of the front burners of both policy and politics. The internet was exploding, the web was exploding, and some of the companies that we think of as just ubiquitous companies today were only just starting. And it was just really a terrific time to be doing it. And after 5 years there, I was released on good behavior. I came out to California. I joined an investment bank out here, and then eventually moved into the investing world and venture capital world, and started a company a couple of years ago that was a financial technology company building a platform to allow everybody to invest in solar, not just the large institutions. And along the way, SolarCity was one of the companies that we were planning to finance. And one day, when I was sitting in a conference room with a team of lawyers and business people from SolarCity, getting ready to ink our final deal and get ready to launch an offering for SolarCity, Lyndon Rye, the CEO of the company, walked in the room and says, "I want you to clear the room. I just need to talk." I thought, this can't be good. And he sat down and said, "Tim, we've decided that we really want to open up the door and let all investors participate in solar. It's part of making everybody have a stake in the transformation to clean energy. And we've decided that we need to do this at SolarCity. And so now we're having a build versus buy discussion, and you're the buy part." Wow. And within about a week, we'd made an agreement for him to buy my company, and about a month later, I walked in the door and have been running fast ever since.
Wow, that's just awesome, and we're so happy to have you on because you really are at the cutting edge of two major developments. And when I had Lyndon on, I want to say 2.5, 3 years ago, solar was just really at its beginning stages, but now there seems to be a solar installation truck almost at every corner in every neighborhood. So the two developments that you're at the cutting edge of, and you are sort of really the creator of in many ways, is not only solar and SolarCity, but the solar bonds concept. Can you share with our listeners both each of those concepts separately and the explosion of both, but then the convergence of both, and explain how they work together?
Sure, happy to do that. So for a long time, solar energy kind of bumped along, and there were some real enthusiasts who wanted it, and people who were committed to the environment, or people who liked the experimenting with new technologies. But its growth really hadn't taken off insofar as individual homeowners choosing solar. And what changed that was really two things. First, the cost of solar over the past few years has come down so dramatically, and so that it's cost less than half of what it cost just a few years ago. And that has really changed the game for many people. But at the same time, there has been financial innovation that has changed the way people pay for solar. And SolarCity has really been at the heart of that. And now if you want to go buy solar panels, instead of having to pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to put solar panels on your roof, you can simply go to a company like SolarCity, choose to put solar on your roof. SolarCity puts it up there, owns it, and simply sells you the power. And that power is cheaper than the power you get from your utility. And those two things, lower cost solar panels and a new financial model that means that homeowners don't have to put tens of thousands of dollars down in order to go solar. They can simply choose to have cleaner electricity at a lower cost, has just caused the industry to take off. And it's one of the great success stories in the U.S. right now. The industry is going just hand over fist. SolarCity has grown about 100% a year over the last several years. And probably the last time, John, that you talked to Lyndon, it was 2.5 years ago, there's probably 2,000 employees at SolarCity at the time. Today there's 10,000 employees, and we're the largest solar employer in the United States.
That's incredible.
And that's all because of one single fact, is that for millions of Americans, it's now cheaper to choose solar energy than to go with the same old utility energy that they've been getting.
That's amazing. That's just amazing. And for our listeners out there that want to learn more about SolarCity, you could go to SolarCity.com. And to learn more about what Tim's going to speak about in a little while here, solar bonds, you could go to SolarCity.com. Tim's also going to be at Sustainatopia May 27th to the 30th at the Hyatt Regency in Beverly Hills. So if you want to come hear Tim speak in person, he'll be there, and you could sign up for Sustainatopia on their website and sign up for the great conference that's coming up May 27th to the 30th. Tim, can we talk a little bit about distributed generation? What does that mean to the solar industry, and how is that helping the explosive growth of the solar industry?
So you broke up there for a moment, John. Can you repeat that?
I'm sorry. Yeah, the big part of the growth in solar right now is in distributed generation. How does that? Can you explain what that means to our listeners, and how that's continued to fuel the growth of the whole solar revolution?
So the utilities that serve most people, they build large power plants, utility scale power plants, and then they attach long transmission lines, and they transport that power to where people need it. And what is different about solar is that it is distributed over all the rooftops where people use the power. And with the changes in both the cost of the technology and the changes in how you finance the technology, now it's feasible to deliver power right where you need it. You can put it on your rooftop, you can consume it yourself, and what you don't consume in your house, you sell back to the utility, and they have to buy it from you. And what that does is that instead of, again, having to build huge power plants around the country and long transmission lines, towers going to your house, that we can now make the power where people use the power. Wow. And that model is something that, again, is changing the way we think about producing and consuming electricity in the United States. And there's been a lot of work done on how distributed electricity affects the electrical grid, and a lot of advances in being able to consume more and more electricity from solar on rooftops. And I think that what you're going to see is that becomes a greater and greater proportion of the electricity produced and consumed in the United States. Last year, for instance, 1/3 of all new electrical generation capacity in the United States came from solar.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. How do you keep, you mentioned, you gave a great highlight. When I spoke to Linden last, they probably had about 2,000 employees. They have 10 now. How do you keep that massive growth going? How do you keep that velocity going? What's your vision and Linden's vision on the growth now?
Well, the SolarCity was founded in 2006, and it was founded by two brothers, Linden and Peter Rive, who are still with the company today, the CEO and the CEO, and Elon Musk, the chairman of the company. And when they founded it with one simple idea, which was, if you want people to adopt solar on a broad scale, which is what they wanted, then you need to save them money, not cost them money. And that was really what the idea was at the heart of the company. And that's still the central strategic concept of the company today, which is save people money, give them clean energy, but give them clean energy that costs them less. Allow them to save money every month. And it doesn't really take more than that, because if you ask people, would you rather have clean energy at lower cost? The answer is yes. And so really what the focus of SolarCity is trying to keep up with the growth that's out there, the demand that's out there, to put together a great product and a great service and be able to deliver that to more and more people. We're in 16 states in the District of Columbia right now. We keep expanding. In fact, we just expanded a couple of weeks ago into the state of New Mexico. So hello to all our new New Mexico friends. And we look forward to expanding to other states as we move forward.
If you just joined us now, we're so honored to have with us Tim Newell. He's the Vice President of Financial Products at SolarCity. To learn more about solar or to buy some of their great products or some of Tim's great products at SolarCity, you go to www.solarcity.com or www.solarbonds.solarcity.com, or you can hear Tim in person speak at the Sustainatopia Conference May 27th to 30th at the Hyatt Regency in Beverly Hills, California. You mentioned at the top of the show, Tim, when you were giving your history a little bit about how SolarCity and Linden purchased your company, Common Assets, and that you launched a new product, Solar Bonds. Can you explain to our listeners what is a solar bond and how can people get involved and invest in solar bonds?
Sure. So SolarCity has financed more than $5 billion worth of solar assets, solar systems, with leading institutional investors and corporate investors, everyone from Goldman Sachs to Google. And that's great. And it has helped fuel our growth, and we're going to continue to do that. But one thing that's important to the company is allowing everybody to participate in solar, and not just save money from having solar on your roof, but also to be able to earn money from being able to invest in solar. And the reality is that there's still a lot of people who can't yet choose solar or are not in a position to choose solar yet, but they should still be able to participate in the growth of solar. So what we did is we took what was the heart of my company, which was a platform to allow individual investors to participate, and we modified that to be able to distribute solar bonds to essentially all investors in the United States. And there really are very few restrictions. You need to be 18 years old. You need to have a U.S. bank account. And for the first time, what we've done is throw open the doors and invited everybody in to participate to finance the same kinds of solar assets that the largest investors up to now have been able to participate in. So what you can do is that you can go to our website, and you can go in and you can see the different bonds that we have available. They're very straightforward. They have maturities that range from a year to 15 years, and you choose what's right for you, and you can transfer money, you can buy a bond, and then we pay you for the next year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever period you've chosen. And the rates that we offer are attractive rates. They're higher than you would typically get for your savings account or a CD or treasuries or other kinds of investments for the same maturities, and you can do it all online. You can also do it through your brokerage account or your IRA if that's what you'd like to do.
Wow. So when did you launch this, Tim, and how has it been received? And are you getting the traction that you wanted to get in terms of the volume of sales?
So we launched this in the fourth quarter of 2014. So we just launched it a few months ago, and this was something new. It's the first registered national offering of solar bonds that's available to all investors. And anytime doing something new, it takes a little while to get out there. But we've been really pleased at the reception we've gotten. In just the few months that we've had solar bonds available to investors, we've had thousands of investors come and register on our site, and have sold millions of dollars of bonds. And those bonds are used to finance our growth. And what we do is we install solar around the country. So when people are investing, what they're really investing is helping us to put solar panels out there on homeowners' houses and businesses and schools, etc.
Well, that, and they're also investing in the future of the planet, and they're also investing in the future of their own portfolio. So it's really a win on every level, I take it.
It is a win, and this is part of a trend that in the last couple of years has really been accelerating, which is people wanting their money to have a greater impact. They want good returns from their investments, and they should have good returns, and that's something that we really try to deliver. But they also want to know that their investments are having an impact in things that they care about, like the environment or creating jobs or other things. And I think that you're going to see that in the next few years that trend toward impact investments is going to be one of the major investment trends.
That is so fascinating. Tim, is this considered a form of, this whole issue of crowdfunding has become really exciting. Is this a form of crowdfunding, or is that totally separate and different from what you're doing?
Well, there's two ways to look at that. So crowdfunding, there's a form of crowdfunding that was specifically envisioned and authorized by the Jobs Act a couple of years ago, which was some legislation passed by Congress. That was something that was pretty restrictive, and it focused on relatively small investments into startup companies. This is not that kind of crowdfunding. What we're offering are fully registered securities that have been registered with the SEC. They're similar to other kinds of publicly registered bonds that investors could buy. But looking at it in a different way, this is crowdfunding in the largest sense. And what we're doing is we're opening the door to let all investors participate in something that only the largest institutional investors have been able to have access to previously.
And like you said, the interest rates are competitive. Is the security competitive in terms of, I don't know much about investments. I'm not an investment advisor, obviously. But in terms of AA, AAA, are the bonds rated high in terms of security and safety?
Well, the bonds are unrated because they are senior unsecured debt of SolarCity.
Gotcha.
And SolarCity is a relatively new company. It is unrated. And one thing I need to say is that any kind of investment involves risk, no matter what it is.
Absolutely.
And all investors should make the decisions for themselves, what's right for them, or working with their investment advisor. And we absolutely don't try to convince people they should buy the bonds or we're excited for those investors who think this is the right investment for them, who want to invest in something that has attractive rates and helps grow solar. And so far, we're having a lot of success doing that. And we really encourage investors to take a look at the bonds, to consider them in light of their own portfolios and their own situation, and make a decision that's right for them. SolarCity has been growing very fast. We think it's going to continue to grow, and we look forward to having everybody participate along with us.
That's awesome. Tim, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing that great story with this new product that you have at SolarCity. To hear Tim in person, you could go to Sustainatopia May 27th to the 30th, where he's going to be speaking about solar bonds and about SolarCity. To learn more about solar bonds and SolarCity, go to www.solarbonds.solarcity.com. Thank you, Tim, for being a solar bond and SolarCity sustainability superstar. You are truly living proof that green is good.